Okay, all right. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you hanging out and being here. Whew. All right. As always, a minute or two late. That never changes. And I just have to, here we go, make sure that I'm monitoring the stream, that nothing major goes wrong. I don't mind little things being a little bit off. That's always fine. Okay, looks like we are live. Looks like we are good. Awesome. Well, Tox is better late than never. That's true. For the most part, that's true. I think there are occasional circumstances where if you're too late, just don't do it. But usually, it's better late than later. That's what I always say. All right, I think that's fine. Always trying to monitor the height of the phone, camera, and everything. We'll just call it decent. All right, let's see. Alan Fan says hello. Thanks for hopping in. How is married life? Married life is very good. Married life is good. Already had some house like duties fall on my shoulders. So a week after we got back from the honeymoon, the air conditioning goes out middle of the night. Now this is South Carolina. This is during the hotter part of July. It was like high 90s, back to back days in a row. And yeah, 2 a.m. We were like, why is it so hot? We can't sleep. Why is it so hot? AC was out. So thankfully, and I shouted him out, Brent, the legend. I wake up the next morning sweaty. No, I was just like, man, this is just so irritating. So I start texting my buddy Brent. I don't even like send him any pictures. I'm just trying to describe the issue. He calls me and he starts walking me through troubleshooting. So, long story short, 7 hours later, from phone calls, he walked me through fixing my air conditioning, and in total, it cost me like $35, $40. So, he's a legend, but it was funny how quickly that something went wrong, with the house, with the home, and it's like, well, yeah, this is my home now, so time to take care of business. But it all worked out. I was glad that it wasn't super expensive because I know fixing AC and stuff like that, HVAC stuff can be very pricey. So grateful for that. Glad it wasn't extravagantly expensive. Doc says, I'll wait till some more people come, but excited to hear about your Nerf discs. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let a handful of people show up. Excuse me. But I do have the Nerf discs here. So I've tested them out, not thoroughly, but enough to really kind of start to get an understanding of them. And I'll be happy to kind of talk about them, share some of my thoughts. I have not filmed a full disc review of them. I do think that I will try to do that. Goodness, I almost never get hiccups, and I can get rid of my hiccups, but they keep cycling back a couple minutes later. So yeah, the Nerf discs, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to talk through exactly what they are. They're very fascinating. Stephen Kitchens Disc Golf says, what's up, man? Hey, thanks for hopping on. Stephen Kitchens, did you just do, if I remember, I did not watch it, but I think I saw you do like 20 hours of disc golf or 10 hours of disc golf. Is that what it was? Some crazy live stream. As far as I know, that's what I saw. I scrolled across it and I thought that was you. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. Alan Fan says, congrats again. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're happy. We're very happy to be married. The wedding went well. Very, very little, went wrong. The only thing that was not how it was supposed to go for the wedding, the only two tiny things. One, there was a storm that rolled through, and there was like some thunder that was really loud, and the sound system kind of had a loud noise, and that made all of us jump. And then the second thing is when I got the ring from my buddies, I forgot to say this ring. I just stood there, and that was it. So very, very minor stuff. Very happy about that. Doc says, strap in. This is Brad's tale of woe. No. I didn't dive all the way into it. I just said credit to Brent, and it was interesting, how quickly after getting married, it was like, and something's wrong with the house. You know, are you going to pay for it or fix it? It was just very quick. It was funny to me. In the moment, yeah, I mean, it was hot above the garage. It was very hot, but I have respect for people who do it for a living. I think I could do it with training and a lot of patience. I think it would just be brutal to go through that heat all the time. S says, good middle of night. Oh, thanks for hopping on and joining. No, it's pretty late there, but it's, just evening over here. So the sun's still mostly out. I don't think the sun goes down until after 8, right? Let's see. Just for sake of comparison, sunset time is at 8:24 would be our sunset time today. That did not help you. The sunset time is about an hour and 20 minutes from now. I'm just saying the time, local time, unhelpfully. Alan Fan says that sucks, but hashtag Team Brent. Yes, Team Brent for the win. He was great. I have good friends. I do have good friends. I was very happy. Very happy to get it fixed. All right. Pie in the Sky says hi. Nice. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Steph says hello, friends. Alan says, guess what's coming out Thursday, Friday? Well, it couldn't be Imposter already, or not Imposter. Yeah. It couldn't be Imposter Disc Golf already, could it? Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Spider-Man. Yes, of course. Oh, now I see Doc also said it. Yeah, so originally it was supposed to come out a little bit earlier in the year, like May, then June, and then June, July. So I've been excited for it. It was kind of a plan to like watch it on the honeymoon. Obviously it's past then, but we're gonna definitely go to the theater and see it. So I'm very excited. I forgot that was this week though, so I've not been monitoring that. That's gonna be a nice little weekend activity. Should be a lot of fun. Stephen Kitchen says, I need to try those Nerf discs. They're interesting. I mean, I'll talk about them in a minute, but yes, they're so lightweight. They are definitely more durable than like some people might think about Nerf, but they're definitely very flexible. But these are warped, and I wouldn't even say that I hit trees super hard. I hit a few trees, but not a lot. And this putter, I don't even know if I ever hit a tree. It just rolled on the ground a few times, and it's kind of warped. I think that's fine. I don't think that that's a huge deal. They are very, very lightweight, which can make it hard to throw. And if you have a heavy grip and you throw fast, it's almost like it's warping the disc until you let go, and then it snaps back and it wobbles, and then it flies really bad. It's very interesting to power up on the discs. Doesn't always work. Superfish says, "Can I join the stream?" Anybody is welcome. You are welcome to join the stream. Steph says hi. Oh, you already said hi. S says, the Latitude Mighty Fly. Great question. I actually just opened a box of discs, including the Mighty. So I have yet to throw it. I got the Nerf discs as well, along with 23 other discs that I got. I had this massive box. I filmed it, all the unboxing, and I'll be dropping that video hopefully tomorrow. So I went to my local course and I tested out the Nerf discs, and that's it. I didn't try the Mighty. I actually have 2 of them. I didn't try the Mighty. I didn't try any of the other discs. So I will do that soon, but I haven't thrown it yet. I'm very excited to. I'm looking forward to it, but I wanted to at least show, the stamp. I just thought it was really cool, and I wanted to snag this. I had plenty in my Infinite Discs gift card to kind of get some discs for some friends, as well as a few for myself to keep and to try to review. So I was excited to do that, and the Mighty was one of them. 2 of them. Stephen Kitchen says, yeah, it's an ongoing live stream full of videos. Oh, interesting. It just keeps going. All right, I'm behind in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm catching up. Doc says, Stephen, they are fun, but I don't think they'll make many people's bags. I feel like it's an in-between. I feel like it will make a fair amount of people's bags. Not a lot of serious disc golfers will bag them. I think younger disc golfers, old disc golfers. So I'm surprised Doc doesn't love them. And some ladies who could benefit from a lighter weight disc might gravitate toward the Nerf discs and be like, oh, these are great. But I think people who disc golf competitively and seriously aren't likely to use them very often. So I don't think they'll be bagging them. That's just a guess. Dice Heiser says, hey guys, Great time. It's shower time. Welcome to the steam. Doc says about time dice. Let's see. Steven or Alan Fan says there's no good wedding without a good scare. It's a fun little moment. Just this boom, and then the sound system, like, it wasn't quite static, but it was like this loud burst at the same time. So we were just like, oh, what just happened? Yeah, it was pretty great. Good moment. Doc says it would have been nice if it happened when the pastor, we had a pastor, my dad actually performed the ceremony, said, "Does anyone hear of a reason these two shouldn't?" Yeah, it happened during the I guess it was during part of our public vows where we were kind of repeating after the lines. We had exchanged private vows earlier and separately during the first look, but that was the time frame when that kind of happened. That storm came through. Oh gosh. Doc says, got a full-time job now. The heat has been making me sick, but I'll get used to it. That is brutal. Hopefully soon, as we get to and through August, that will kind of taper off for you. I love the heat, but I don't wish that upon every other human being who doesn't love it. Stephen Kitchen says we should collab. I'm generally speaking, I'm open for sure. But I am now in South Carolina. I moved about 2 hours or so south of Charlotte. So I'm not in the Charlotte area any longer. So it just depends on the style, the type of collab that you might be thinking about. But I would say, generally speaking, that I'm open if you want to honestly pursue something, and reach out with a DM or something like that. I'm open to talking. I have no immediate no's for anybody. Let's see. Di says, "You heat." I've thrown off that stuff, or sworn off that stuff. Sorry. I don't know. The heat's a pretty good disc. It's maybe a little too flippy for you, but I feel like it's good for a lot of people. Oh boy, here we go. Di says nobody bags a Nerf, just like nobody bags a glitch. I'll have to wait about 3 months and ask that question to get a better pulse of that because it's still too early. The Nerf discs have been out of stock everywhere. Like I struggled to get any from Infinite because they only had the individuals of the 3 separate discs, and the plastic, not plastic, the colors were only available in yellow and white. So it was like there is no variety in color. It's only 2 white and a yellow, or 2 yellow and a white disc, because they were just so low for their stock. My local store has some, but I wanted to get them for free from Infinite, so that's what I did. Doc says, "Oh, Spider-Man in May for Aunt May would have been smart." Yeah, I guess so. Furniture factories, no AC, so it gets hot. Ew, brutal. Alan Fan says, "Saw the Odyssey. That was incredible." Man, such an interesting story arc of the film, The Odyssey. I've just heard so many different things, and I guess, long story short, one day I'll have to see it. I'm not going to prioritize it like I will Spider-Man, but I'll have to give it a watch and kind of experience it for myself, think about it, and see what I think, because there have just been people raving about it, people who were like, "This is just terrible. They just ruined the story." I am sure that they're, how do I put it? Storytelling interpretations that I'm sure I won't love, but those are true in almost every movie. It's just a matter of what kind of line does it cross, and is it taking away from the story, taking away from the strength of the film itself? Are the visuals overcompensating for anything? Questions that I have, but I'm not sure. Haven't seen it, not prejudging it, just curious. Doc says, "Alan, I've heard," which one? "I've heard that the Odyssey was good. I have to check it out." Doc says, "Considered them for when kids playground cars, but it's just too slick." Well, it's so interesting that that's your thought process perspective, because when I got it out of the package, I was like, "Oh, Doc's right. These are pretty slick." I didn't have any problem throwing them. As far as slickness was concerned, I had no problem with grip. My issue was, I'll get the driver. When I grab this thing, this is what the disc is doing. Like, you can see my thumb is like indenting the disc. So when this thing leaves my hand, it's like misshapen. It's deformed. You really kind of need a light touch, or maybe just like, I don't know, rim grip but not thumb pressure to get an actual like decent throw with the Nerf disc. I tried kind of moving more toward the rim with my thumb, but that can create a wobbly throw. So for me, it really wasn't the slickness of the disc that was a problem. It was the shape of the disc as it left your hand and just created wobble on almost every single throw where I powered up and had a tighter grip on the disc. I do think that they are going to be good for preventing injury. These things can hit people and it's going to sting a little bit, but it's going to probably hurt less than an ultimate frisbee disc, and nothing like, Eagle McMahon throwing 500 feet over the top of trees, hitting you in the head. Dice says on Foundation video recently, I think it was Connor who accidentally pressed his thumb to it on the flight plate and it broke through it. Nerf. Wow. I wouldn't assume that would happen to me. I can see that being possible, but you'd almost have to try to do that. I would think you'd almost have to try to do that, but I can see it happening. Maybe if you've hit a few trees already and it kind of gouged or scratched the top and made it a little bit more thin. I don't know. Okay, I messed up the chat. Where am I? Alan Fan says Simon bags a glitch. There you go. Todd tried to, or Dicizer tried to, saying that almost nobody bags a glitch, and then I ran a poll, and it was like 30% of people or something bag. Now, to be fair, I said a glitch or a similar catch style disc. So I kind of broadened the category a little bit, and a lot of people said that they do. Check out that poll. It's a post in the last 3 months on my channel if you want to track that down. S says Nerf rhymes with nerd, just saying. Well, I guess to be a nerd, technically it doesn't rhyme because it doesn't have the same ending of the word, so it technically can't really rhyme. It just starts the same. It's not the same thing as rhyming, which is a very nerd thing to say. And the second thing that I'll say is I was the captain of my school's quiz team my senior year of high school and wore sweater vests on television. So if you're talking nerd, then what can I say? I was a small class, but I was a salutatorian. So I guess the term would be fitting. I won't deny it. Oh my gosh. Behind in chat? Yeah, I'm always behind. And here's a lot of doc. Let's skim through all the doc. I disagree with Brad. Even ladies and older will find them too slick. Hope I'm wrong because it's nice to see people thinking outside the box. Yeah, I really don't think that slickness is the main issue with the discs. Maybe it's just me, but I had no issue with slickness. My first time picking it up, like literally pulling it out of the plastic and holding it, I was like, oh, super slick. As soon as I threw them all like when I posted my YouTube short of me throwing them on my whole like home course hole one, that was my first throw with the putter, my second throw with the mid, and my third throw with the driver. So I had thrown them all 1, 2, or now 3 times for that video. And I had no problem with slickness. That was not the issue. The issue, I had different issues with swinging my arm, the amount, the extreme lightweightness, the deforming the disc as you grip it. That was what I was struggling with, much, much more than grip. I had no issues with grip. I don't think most people will have an issue with grip. Maybe forehand, they'll slip out of your hand. But I think most people have fan grip or power grip and they're not going to have any issue. Like even right now, like, I don't know, like I'm not gripping that hard and I have no issue like holding in my hand. If you fan grip, even easier to keep this. So I don't think slickness is the problem. I really do. Stephen Kitchen says, as a wedding photographer for 15 years, first looks are a bad move. All the emotions usually show there and aren't there for the ceremony. Just my opinion. I would say certainly not true for our wedding. I think the first look pictures were amazing for sure. But I was basically crying the entire ceremony. So plenty of emotion there. I would not say that any emotion was lacking. It was a very just wonderful, beautiful ceremony. I love the photos. Every single photo that I've seen so far from all the sneak peeks look fantastic. Uh, it was incredible. Yeah, I have zero regrets. Absolutely zero regrets about doing the first look. Definitely helped with the flow of the day, and I would say even if there is some type of loss in emotion going into the ceremony, you have also reduced stress because you've gotten a lot of photos already. You've gotten to spend a few minutes together before you get into the ceremony. So you don't have as much on your plate, as much on your mind, and you're able to more focus on being present in the moment, in the middle of your wedding ceremony. So I thought it was a great idea, and it definitely was what we preferred. Doc says wedding photographer seems like a nice job. Thought about going into photography. Yeah, it is brutal. It's brutal. Just the I know it's not the same as like hardcore manual labor. I was with two men in a truck for a few months, and the brutality of moving all day. You know, I have to know that you being in the furniture in the back, like you're experiencing that without AC. Like it's real, like physical labor hits really hard on your body. But wedding photographer, goodness gracious, it is 8 to 12 hours of constant movement, being on top of the schedule, being in the right position at the right time. There are a lot of shots that if you miss it, the moment's gone. And that's a lot of pressure. And then you're turning around to continue to work. You know, the number of hours that you work is insane. And yes, the amount that it costs is, I don't want to use the term crazy, high. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of work. So it's certainly a very difficult job. Not one that I would necessarily pick. I do have a similar interest of, you know, very, very, very amateur, but like photography. But there's a lot that goes into it. It's a tough job. Not one I would pick for me. Doc says, interesting, Brad. Maybe I have some issues with my hands, can't grip very strong, which is why they're more slippery to me. Alan Fan says, can't be any more slick than Neutron. They're more slick than Neutron. 100%. Doc says, Brad, I also hope you're able to get out in the rain with the Nerf disc and see what you think about how they dry. I will. I will at some point. I mean, it's been raining. I haven't been out over the weekend, but I'll get out there in the rain. Dice says, captain of your school's nerd team, you mean? Yeah. I mean, we didn't call ourselves the nerd herd because that was already taken from Chuck, but we were pretty close. First private nerd? Whatever. Doc says, I think Dujit mentioned slickness in the Discord. Wish he was here for the discussion. I don't think he threw the Nerf discs. Oh, no. I think he threw one of them. I think he threw the driver. Oh, what did he say? You're right. You're right. He mentioned throwing the driver a couple of times. I don't remember. Stephen Kitchen says, that's good. It means it's real. The ones I've seen haven't really lasted too long that it did them. One particularly was about train wreck from start to finish. Good night. No, the process of the wedding was fantastic. Things were pretty much just smooth. I mean, nothing, no wedding goes perfect, but I think keeping your expectations realistic, having um, family members who aren't insane, it makes a big difference, and just kind of planning ahead. It was just great. Everything was so smooth. Like the flow of the day was really good. Once we had the first look, it was like everything just kind of was a domino effect of like, you know, photos with the wedding party, um, making sure that everything is ready at the last minute, going through the ceremony, photos with family, going to the reception, having the cake cutting. You know, we did like the shoe game, walking around to tables. We took a picture with every table and had about 20 seconds to talk to everybody that came to our wedding, which was really nice, or who stayed for the reception. Having send off, like it was really just a smooth thing. And we even had tacos, and I didn't see anybody who spilled tacos on their clothes. So it was a really fantastic day. Dice says, guys, cool guys don't cry or have feelings, and we always this is sarcasm, at least some sarcasm, by the way, for anybody who is not in on Todd. We always walk away from explosions in slow motion without being startled while putting on sunglasses. I mean, that's pretty much true. I agree with the explosions thing. I have done that multiple times. Uh, but, you know, I also do cry. So that does happen. Doc says, Dice can't say nothing about that. Was watching the last flag flying and I did a Brad and almost did a Brad and teared up. I have not even seen that. I have no idea what that is. If it's, I'm guessing a movie. But, oh, interesting. With Steve Carell, Bryan Cranston, Lawrence Fishburne. Haven't seen it. Dice says you get a pass, Doc, because you've already banked a ton of coolness. That's how you know that Dice is being heavily sarcastic here. If anyone's attributing Doc with a high level of coolness, you have to know that something is up. You have to be suspicious at that point. Be very, very careful. Don't believe everything you hear. Doc says, by the way, it's a good movie. Steve Carell, Lawrence Fishburne, Bryan Cranston. Brian and Teresa Hendricks says his dad cried during our wedding too. Hey, there you go. So my dad cried during his wedding to my parents. And Doc says, oh, that's sweet. After I get made fun of. Thumbs up. Doc says, Brad, it's a sad movie. Be ready if you watch it. I probably won't. I don't. I am not quick to add movies to my list. I have movies that I'm wanting to watch or rewatch. I have my list, and then Mrs. Birdietime has a list of movies that she wants to watch with me, that she loves and she wants to enjoy watching together. I have my own list. My list tends to be slightly more violent, but not not all of her movies are lacking in violence. There's quite a few that have a little bit more action-packed fighting in them than you might expect. But we have plenty of movies that we still need to watch together. So a totally unheard of movie. It's very unlikely to make the list at this point. Doc says, suggest the book's The President's Vampire to the missus. She might like it. Christopher Farnsworth. I feel like I've heard of him. Anyway, we'll see. Might pass it on. Oh my gosh. Dice says, my dad cried when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I shook my head and said, it looks like I'm the dad now. Wow. It might be going a little bit too far. Doc says, a little too scary for Brad, but I think the missus might like it. Sure, friend. That is an assumption. There you go. He won't get the joke. That's Doc for you. Just full of assumptions. Well, let's see. Now that we've talked about the Nerf discs, I'll talk about the Nerf discs more. So, again, my experience was less in the line of that slickness is a problem. They definitely are slick. They definitely have that surface coating where you can tell that the kind of Nerf is kind of hard packed and coated, so it's not just going to peel very easily. I'm sure it could. But again, that kind of like extra lightweight, gripping the disc too hard, that deforms it. All of that was difficult. But I did get smooth throws out of all of the discs. It just kind of took some practice to get it. But my main concern, other than the deforming the disc when you grip it to throw, is that I would say this is extremely normal, like wear and tear, has left all three of the discs at least a little bit messed up, like shaped wrong, especially the driver and mid-range. Both of them are, they're not flat anymore. They just don't have the correct shape. And I don't think I did anything extreme to them. I don't even remember like squaring up a tree that I can recall. I hit some branches, some leaves and branches for sure, but I don't remember just throwing a disc and just smacking a tree. I don't remember that happening. So I do feel like you just kind of have to accept, if you're going to throw the Nerf discs, you have to accept that they're going to get beaten up, that they're going to get kind of lumpy, but that just has to be part of the charm. It just does. It has to be part of the charm. I will say, as far as their slickness is concerned, like you can kind of see it a little bit here. It is true, like especially on each other. Like if you put these on top of each other on your cart or on a bench or something, expect the top one to just fall off. Like it's probably just going to slip right off of the stack. Overall, I think there's benefit. If the grip's not a problem for you, which it is for Doc, I think there's some benefit to kids, older people and ladies who are like, I'll benefit from a really lightweight disc. There you go. The Nerf disc is a very lightweight disc. And generally speaking, it'll be good for kids who are unhinged and crazy and chuck stuff without looking. And yeah, it's much less likely to cause damage to something or to injure somebody. So I think there's benefit to them. I do not think that they're going to be extremely popular in tournaments. I don't think you're going to see them. Not like the glitch. I think the glitch, I see it in tournaments. People tend to use the glitch. It's in their bag. I don't think the Nerf discs are going to be quite like that. Probably not. Dice says he'll be fine, Brad. Prostate cancer is the weakest of all cancer, or of cancer, so easy to beat. Doc says, yeah, but it's a pain in the bum. All right. Doc says, Brad will also be interesting to see how they do in cold weather. That's true. I would like to see them in cold weather. It was warm, not extremely hot, but like low 90s Fahrenheit when I went out there playing. So wasn't crazy, wasn't awful weather, definitely not cold. It would be interesting to see what they do in the cold. Doc says, by the way, Dice, do you like silly comedy TV shows? S says, Brad or anyone, have you thrown the Latitude Saint Pro? I was wondering if it's closer to 9-speed or 7-speed, like the Brave Mighty. Just ordered Saint Pro yesterday, anticipating what it will be like. Oh, goodness. I've thrown the Saint a few times. I feel like it felt a little bit more like a 7-speed to me. But I need to look up the Saint Pro in comparison. I wouldn't say that I have specific experience. Okay, so it is an 8-speed. Right. I've done the Sapphire more. I would have more input on the Sapphire than the Saint Pro. So what is the Pro? A little bit more stable? Is that how? Because I know the Ballista Pro is more stable. So -1-1, -1-2. Okay. Oh, the Saint is a 9-speed, but the Saint Pro is an 8-speed. Wow. Interesting when they changed even the speed on a disc. It feels like it's not the same disc anymore for me, but Dice says normal wear and tear, you probably only thrown them for 1 or 2 rounds. The durability is definitely sus. Yes, normal wear and tear, and it's over the short term, has affected them. So I do think that durability in terms of, how do I put it? Keeping like function as a disc, I don't necessarily know that I have like huge concerns, but for being exactly the same shape as when you got them, like, no, they're not going to be. That being said, a lot of people who are going to benefit the most from them aren't going to be throwing them at high speeds into trees. So they're not as likely to really kind of ding them up very quickly. And I was throwing some of them at high speeds. I was trying to test them out. So I do think that I probably pushed them a tiny bit further. But a lot of people, I think, will find some more benefit from them without pushing them as hard as I did. Brad has obviously been paid off by Big Nerf. I wish. I would sell out for Big Nerf to fund me. Ellis says, what's up? Just hanging out, having a good time. Thanks for hopping by. Doc says, S, have you thrown a TL3? Interesting. Ellis's question, do you do any weight training or gym training to help with disc golf? So I have, oh great, here we go. Oh, okay, I thought I was going to get insulted there. I don't do I don't go to a gym. I played soccer throughout all of high school and college, and I was in the gym a lot throughout college, and I looked pretty much the same. I definitely made me, stronger and everything, but I lean in the direction of, my perspective is for disc golf, it's more about core strength, speed, flexibility, and a kind of meeting a baseline. So I wouldn't say that bulk is a goal of mine. I don't think I really have the body type for it anyway, but I can definitely, add some muscle mass with consistency and training. For me personally, I lean in the direction of push-ups, planking, bicycles, and then I'm working some with dumbbells. I'm doing a lot of curls and presses above the head, and then some like off to the side. I forget what that is called, with like 15-pound weights instead of 25s, just to kind of build up everything to do with the arms and shoulders. But the main thing is that I want my back and my core muscles to be pretty much, strong. I'm not really working too much with the legs. I feel like I'm active enough and on the course enough that my legs are mostly, keeping track of themselves. Kind of like how you take a shower and you don't bother to wash your legs. Maybe that's a guy thing, but anyway, moving on. I hope that's not too gross. Um, Generally speaking, that's how I tend to kind of focus on things. I think for the most part, you do want a base level of strength in your arms and your chest, and then you want to focus on core and back, because that's really where you're getting your athleticism, your speed, and that sets up a good disc flight, good balance. I think all of that benefits more than strength, but I think you need a baseline of strength, because if you're weak, that does affect your disc golf game. Oh, goodness. So that's my perspective. I haven't done a lot of weight training in quite some time, and I don't think that it has the same benefit significantly to disc golf as it would for like soccer or football or basketball, something like that, where you at least have physical contact with other people. With disc golf, it's all about you and the disc. So anything that gets that disc moving faster out of your hand, which I think has a lot to do with timing, which tends to be in the direction of athleticism over strength, and speed, and like repetition practice, balance, all of those, and then core strength over physical muscle mass. So that's my perspective. That's how I lean. I know Docs mentioned disc golf strong. I looked into disc golf strong myself. I think there's some benefits there. I kind of borrowed their perspective and picked exercises that aligned with where they were looking, which more was like back focused and core focused. And I've found some benefit, and I think it helps. Dice says, I love some silly comedy TV shows. Silicon Valley is an all-time fave. New Girl, Seinfeld. Yeah, those are good choices. I haven't really watched Silicon Valley or Seinfeld at all. I have watched through New Girl. Pretty funny. And now, watching through Bones, which the main girl in Bones is Zoe Deschanel's sister. Ralph Courier says St. Pro is like a stag or lots. Lots being a 9 speed, right? I think I have a lots. I'm pretty sure I have a lots. S says, have not thrown TL or TL3. Doc says, Dice try on YouTube a 90s show, So Haunt Me. It's about a family moves into a house, there is a ghost, just a bit of silly. So random. If any of you, I know some of you have understanding of the Bible and a lot of interest or are Christians. I've only seen the very first episode, the pilot, but there is an Office style biblical mockumentary TV show. It is called The Promised Land, and just episode 1 was pretty funny. Like, you definitely get the Office vibes. You definitely get that mockumentary style coming through, and it's kind of positioned right after the Israelites leave Egypt and kind of get across the Red Sea, and it's quite good. I would say that I recommend it. I have not watched through the whole thing, but just based on the pilot, I would say a lot of you would probably enjoy that show. And it's just on YouTube, I think, for free, so you can look that up, The Promised Land. Dice says more into stuff like Ozark, Game of Thrones, True Detective. Doc says, you need something dark, just keep watching Brad's disc shorts. Okay. Dice is better than wacky, over-the-top American comedy. Americans are so dull, glad I'm a Spaniard. There's something to be said for a lot of really poor American adaptations and some ridiculous, uninteresting comedy, for sure. Steph says, been in love with the turn lately. Nice. Turn being a understable driver. Innova, I believe. Doc says, Dice, do you see the new Zorro show? I have not kept up with any of that. S says, Ralph, thanks for the comment. Short research and internet, and I think St. Pro should be a fair amount more stable than Stag. Interesting. Dice says, Brad, wash your legs. They take care of themselves. A little bit of soap falls down, right? There's water everywhere. It's fine. Ella says, yes, nice. Yes, I'm a skinny guy, 11% body fat, used to be 5. Put on weight, seems like I can get some more distance on the disc since. I would lean towards saying, like, you hit that baseline of strength where you're putting on some muscle, it'll help, but it doesn't scale, like, not exponentially. It doesn't scale exponentially either. But I don't think it scales linearly. I think it really tapers off after you hit that kind of baseline where there's some benefit, but I think more in the direction of athleticism, core strength, I think is truly where you get the most benefit, the most bang for your buck, for your time, for your exercise, once you hit that baseline. But if you're very, very slender and skinny, and then you do add that muscle, I think you can make that jump where it's like, oh, wow, this makes a big difference. I think Gannon Burr experienced that where he was a little bit too like beanpole. And then, with his height, he put on quite a bit of, muscle weight, and that helped him out a lot. But I think if he continued to add muscle mass, I don't think he continues to get much out of it. I think he's better aligned for athleticism. I think generally speaking, that's true for disc golf. Do. Seth says, you're gross. You don't wash your legs. You guys are definitely all, not washing your legs. I know that you don't do it. Don't lie to me. You're just trying to make me feel weird about something totally normal. Dice says they need scrubbing, not just soap. Well, to be fair, I do wash my feet and ankles after, getting out and getting a lot of grime, I guess, from the disc golf round. But my knees take care of themselves. They don't need any help. Steph says, dirty legs, Brad. Doc says, Dice Brillo pads. Get that skin. Dice says, get that skin bright red. That's how you know it's clean. Ooh, that's horrible. Dice says, does it mock God at all? Try to stay away from worldly Christian stuff because Hollywood is so sacrilegious. So if you're talking about the Promised Land, I wouldn't really say that it's so much mocking of God. I think it's really about people. Like Moses and Aaron and Miriam are characters, and it's not as much from what I remember. I don't remember anything really mocking the idea of God or the character of God. It's more like, okay, God, you've asked me to do this. And then you look around and you're like, with these people, like that sort of thing. Of I don't even know how to give an example or how to describe it, but I would not say that was my perception of episode 1. I would say it really is kind of a person to person, which is where, that you get that style of humor from The Office, Parks and Rec and things like that, where you have the people, clashing or aligning or disagreeing or feeling uncomfortable with each other. That's what you're getting, that style. So it's really person to person humor, more than anything that's kind of from the perspective of God's character. I would say watch the pilot. It's 20 minutes on YouTube. I would say give one little shot. And if you hit that feeling where you're like, I don't know if it's as respectful, totally fair. But I don't think you'll have that perception, just from my point of view. Alan Fan says, who is your top 3 for Worlds, MPO, and FPO? Wow. Goodness, I have really not paid attention. Let's see. Worlds is Toboggan, isn't it? I would have to say top 3 Gannon. I think Calvin can do it. Particularly with the changes that I know that they're making on some of the holes. And we've seen Calvin go 7 down through 5 at Toboggan. He's won at Toboggan. Gannon's won at Toboggan. But it's not Gannon's favorite course. He does not love Toboggan. It is, yeah, it's Worlds. I remember they put in the tee pad. Because I played US AMs there a year ago. Also not my favorite course. I could see Isaac or Niklas walking away with it. I could see Ricky taking it down. Ooh, Ricky's first Worlds at Toboggan? That would be a dark horse pick. I will say, just based on the last 3 years, I'm going to pick Gannon, Calvin, Isaac. I think top 3 chances for Worlds. Yeah, Gannon, Calvin, Isaac. I would love to see Sullivan Tipton take it down. Oh, that would be amazing. I would love that. FPO, Owen has a solid shot. Evelina, maybe it does benefit bombing, but I'm not sure. There's some tight lines, and you have to putt. You have to be able to putt. Evelina does not always putt well. Holland Hanley. Who's the Silva's been winning? Who's the other? Lisa. Her last name starts with an F. She's been winning in Europe. I'm gonna say Owen Scoggins, Holland Hanley, and Silva Saarinen. I'll say those are my top 3 for FPO. Yep. Alice says, yes, I was very, very skinny. Not as skinny now, but still skinny. Have the opposite problem to overweight people not being able to lose weight. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I have a friend kind of like that. We had this when I was in the gym 4 or 5 days a week with a friend for soccer workouts, and a couple of buddies would join every couple of days. We just get some workouts in, and they had this. You grab the 2 handles, and it basically sends electric, current throughout your body. You don't feel it, but it basically tells you your body fat percentage. And so we're passing around. And my friends are getting like 10% or 12% or whatever. I got 3% and handed it to our skinniest friend, and he got an error. It could not read his body fat percentage. He tried it over and over and over again. It errored out every single time. Just nothing. No feedback about his body fat percentage. It was so low. I really think that it was because it was so low. Like, I don't think it was circulation. I don't think it was how I was holding it. Like, we tried over and over again. So that was pretty funny. I would say for him, at that time, when you're that low in your, wasn't just body fat, very, very skinny. So when you're low in your body mass, that can definitely hold you back. And you kind of have to hit that baseline of strength. And then once you're past it, it doesn't have a whole lot of benefit. And then, of course, depending on your body type, your body size, there are definitely ceilings to where it's going to start negatively impacting your athleticism and your capabilities as well. But I think there's this really wide box where you can have, you're not perfectly in shape, you're not super strong, but you're kind of within that realm of able to competently handle it very well. And that's when I think that core strength comes in. Steven says, sorry, but every single day in the shower. Yeah, you guys are weird. I don't think anybody else in the world washes their legs. S says, got an announcement to make. For the first time, used Enigma in a game, battled with a couple of friends, and it was successful. Still could not use it on the first couple of holes because needed to warm up properly. Heck yeah. I'm not too surprised. I think the general stability, but not over stability of the Enigma would suit your style. And I'm not shocked. I love the Enigma. It's such a good disc. I have the Horizon line DD2, which is kind of the Enigma now. How they have changed it, they remake it. But I still have several neoplastic Enigmas that I keep around. Dice is so relatable. Oh, wait, what? I'm a little bit lost. That's okay. Whoa, got a lot. I am so far behind. S says, can't use Enigma on most holes, so I'm not very accurate with it, but I get more distance. Interesting, yeah. That makes some sense for sure. Brad's like, give it a shot, but I haven't watched more than the preview. Well, that's literally what I'm saying. It's not the preview, it's the pilot. It's a full episode. It's just the first one. And I'm saying I have watched that, and I recommend watching that as an indicator of whether you may or may not like the show. Pay attention. Maddie, I guess, is in the back room. Alice says, Docs is too late for you, Maddie. Sorry. Docs, Ellis says, recently threw the new run of trails, and oh my, they're better than the trail that I had lost. I think the new runs are domey too. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I know that there have been some pretty inconsistent trails, so I'm interested to see how they kind of work out, but it's good to know. Oh, Alan says Ricky is two-time world. Thank you. I really appreciate that correction there. That was a long time ago in the chat, but I don't know why I had in my head that you hadn't won worlds. What on earth was I thinking? Yeah, Ricky Wawasaki, two-time world winner. I don't know why I said that he hadn't won worlds. What did he not won? Yeah, yeah, he's won worlds. He hasn't won Champions Cup. Okay, definitely not the same thing. Oh, he's never won USDGC. Oh, is that right? Okay. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I did not know. I did not have my facts straight on that one. Let's see. Let's see. Alan Fan says that you have Burr, Heimberg, and Eagle. I thought about Eagle, especially hole 17, that forehand that he threw, and he's back now. He won. Shout out to Eagle McMahon. Alice says 3% body fat can't be healthy. LOL. It definitely can. It's very low, but for a male BMI, it's not too low. It's not unhealthily low, but it's at the very bottom of body fat percentage. That's good for you. You really don't want to go that much below 5%. But no, I was just extremely active and I was eating a lot, like a lot of calories. I was eating stuff like pizza and ice cream too. I would have like salad, green beans, pizza, a panini sandwich, cereal for a couple of meals a day, a couple of cookies, some ice cream, chocolate milk after my workouts. Like I certainly wasn't depriving myself of anything, but I was just so active because I was training for soccer and I was doing like intramurals. I took like a volleyball class, running class, hiking class. Like I did all sorts of activities. I was playing ultimate frisbee. Yeah, I was just extremely active and yeah, just tons and tons of calories, high metabolism. It's about as low as you should go though. You really shouldn't go far below. And my buddy, we were a little bit concerned about him. Alan Fan says for the FPO, Silva, Handley, and Fours. Fours. Who's Fours? I am blanking. Is that a European player? Steph says, didn't know what I did there. Sorry. I guess Steph removed one of Doc's comments, and Doc's comment was, nice, glad they're working out for you. Alice says, thanks, Doc. Although it wasn't my disc, I need to find one. Yeah, get your hands on that Enigma. S says mirror is greater than body count meters. Body content. Sorry, body content meters. I don't know. Like the measurement. I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means. You certainly can't tell just with a glance in the mirror of what your body fat percentage is. Doc says disc has some neutron trails, 1795. There you go. Steph says I washed my whole legs. All right. You guys are all lying to me. Dice says my Ricky two-time discs must be lying. I know. I got that wrong. I got it wrong. I got corrected. Thank you. Alice says, are you sponsored by Discraft? No. So this is a Discraft. It's a CCR Open in Michigan. It's a Pro-Am tournament, 2 different weekends. I've forgotten what it stands for no reason. But it actually takes place at, now it's the number 3 course in Michigan, but it was the number 2 ranked course in Michigan. And Capital City Renegades, that's what it is. The Capital City Renegades A tier. So it's a good course. Not my style, of course. Like one side is like just an open bomber course, and we played that course twice, and the other side was actually interesting to me. River's Edge and what was Birchfield Park? Renegades Trail, I think is what it's called. Anyway, so not sponsored, just a tournament that Discraft sponsored. I'm sponsored by Infinite Discs, so for me that's a great benefit because not only does Infinite have all discs, so I'm not limited in what I can throw or compete with, I get gift cards depending on how successful my YouTube videos are. So actually, I have a huge stack. I'm not going to spoil anything because I did an unboxing video of all of these discs and more. But like, I just got all of these for free. This is about half of what I just opened a couple of days ago, including the Nerf discs. I actually ordered a basket, like just because I compiled a lot of gift card credit from the YouTube channel. So I'm very grateful. Infinite has been awesome. It's just been great. So Infinite, I'm very happy about that sponsorship. Dice says there's nothing that Ricky has not won that's fake news. Let me see. Ricky Wysocki won USDGC. Udis says he's never won USDGC. Dang. He even lost to Will Shoestrick. Like, took second place to Will Shoestrick. Ouch. Doc says, Brad, don't read this. Dice, you see where they built an AI and it escaped? Ellis says that he's in the UK. Yes, yes, he is. John Kelly says, been busy, haven't made the live in a while. Hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you swinging by. Doc says, sorry to hear it, Ellis. Dice says, I did see that, Doc. Been waiting for this for years. We're only just begun to feel the wrath of our own creation. Yeah, I wouldn't say wrath. They're not sentient. AI is not sentient. But yes, the consequences. Consequences. Dox has been on the record saying I approve our new AI overlords. I'm not worried. Steph says, put up a poll to see who washes their whole legs. All right. I expect complete honesty from everyone. Just typing out the options here. All right. There you go. There's a poll. I hope it makes you happy. Dice says, oh, I left my peanut M&Ms in the car. It's only 105 degrees. I'm sure they're fine. Strangely enough, on the trip to toward, well, I guess it was North Carolina. I was thinking it was Tennessee, but we didn't go that far. We left peanut M&Ms in the car as well, and it was very, 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 very hot out. But we brought them inside, and they cooled off, and they actually held their coating. Like, I was actually surprised. They did not actually melt everywhere. It was a shock. Doc says, hopefully it's just Brad for the no. Ralph says, Julia Force. Okay, Julia Force. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, the 14-year-old. That's right. Wow, that's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. So I heard because she either took a win or was like winning a tournament in the last month or two. Heard about it, wasn't following, didn't watch any of it. Yeah, that's crazy. 14-year-old winning worlds would be insane. That'd be insane. Alice says, I've been working on a web project where you can search for a disc and it will search UK retailers for the disc. So I will look at using it tomorrow to find a trail. Yeah, good luck with that. That's awesome. I hope you find one. Hope you find one. Doc says, sick Alice, we got one of those in America. It's pretty neat, but complicated. Yeah. So I tried one and it literally gave me, like it claimed some person on Facebook recommended it. This disc finding search engine, it claimed to find the best deal for a disc. I looked up 2 discs, and both of them were cheaper on Infinite. So it did not work well. Did not work well. Doc seems to snip out the deals though. He's pretty on it. Dice says he's saying what you see in a mirror is what matters most above any measurements, weight, or other metrics. The eye test is the ultimate truth. I would say in terms of aesthetics, that's certainly true. But in terms of health, sometimes it's not fully true. It is helpful to be aware of your physical metrics if you're working toward a specific goal or you're working toward a an athletic career or health. There are things to be concerned about, and there are things that are, like you said, like 3% body fat is kind of low. Yeah, if you have an incredibly low body fat, you might not notice it just by appearance. But if you use something and you're like, oh, maybe this is a problem, like maybe I should eat, I should stop only eating rabbit. I should eat more than venison. Let's add a little bit of fatty meat to my diet. Like there are things that you can adjust for the sake of health. So I hear that perspective for sure. I don't want to just totally discount it. But for me, it was always health and athletic success, which are relevant to statistical measurements of what you're working with. Your height makes a difference. Like your reach makes a difference. So yeah, you can, like, I'm perfectly content and happy with who I am, how I look. I have been. Occasionally, I will be like, I think I'll cut back on Mountain Dew. I don't need to be dumping that sugar down my gullet all the time. I'd rather be able to focus better and compete better and just not give myself a ridiculous amount of sugar. But generally speaking, like, I'm glad with, what I've been given. But doing like research and analysis of what I'm working with can also help me push toward a goal and say, this is what I think I should do, with my body for my goals in athletics and in sports. This has always been helpful for me. I think it's certainly something to consider and analytically and to be aware of, but not personally. I think there's a big difference there. Alice says I use Tridiscs, but it doesn't include all the new UK retailers, so I built my own. Wow. Doc says that's why I got one of the carnival mirrors. Let's see. I look like a size 3 and I'm about 2 feet tall. Nice. S says, see you later, guys. Gotta get some sleep. See ya. Dice says, I'm holding the mouth of the M&M bag up to the car cooler vent in hopes of a full recovery. Let's see. Why is Brad a coder, but it takes him an hour to do a poll? I'm not a coder. I do website design, not website development. So I don't actually code. And Dice says that he's a vibe coder. I don't think he's a real web dev or software engineer. No. Definitely not a software engineer and not a web developer, web designer. So definite difference there. And I do very, very, very little coding. I actually took one day of one class, like coding class for a career center thing. Was very interested, but it was an entirely remote class with no video meetings with the teacher, and I hated it. I was learning how to code from a book. It did not work. It did not work well. Copy and pasted email code was a problem. I guess it was more than one day. It was about a week. It stank. I stopped. Did not like it. John Kelly says, ever thrown an Axiom Delirium? Yes, I have thrown a Delirium. Is the Delirium the 14 speed? I think I misspelled it. Delirium. Yes, the 14.5 speed. Yes. Good night. I don't think I threw it extremely well. That's a fast disc. Someone agreed with Brad. Was it Brad or his parents? I can't vote. I can't vote in the poll because it's like it's my account. I am not able to select. We got 27% vote no. Thank you for being honest, people. Appreciate you. Is roast Brad night? I guess so. Is there Steph says, wow, there is more than one disgusting diabolical There's more than one disgusting, diabolical no-leg washer. Dice says, "You who doesn't wash their legs?" See, that's the thing. Everybody's jumping on this. Then you run a poll and people can answer anonymously, and it turns out that like 30% of people are like, "Yeah, they're fine." It's like washing only the part of the fork that goes in your mouth. Yeah, that's a decent analogy. Yeah, if you are hand washing your dishes and you have soapy water and you submerge the fork and it's been in there for 30, 40 seconds, and then you take the fork out and then you specifically clean the end that's going in your mouth, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's what I do when I wash the dishes, but I'm not going to be concerned about getting any sort of like disease from that. A lot of it depends on the cleaner that you use. If you're like if you're in a kitchen, like a camp kitchen or something like that, they'll actually just use like bleach in their water, and they're not actually they're scrubbing all the food off, but they're not like wiping everything out. You're letting it sit, and then you're rinsing everything off because it takes care of it. That's a little bit different, to be fair. Dice says rabbits are unclean meat. Oh gosh. Oh, Brent's here. What's up, Brent? Doc says, Brent, you don't make Brad wash his legs. No, Brent has no power. He's several hours away. Art Zoic Draws says, hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on. Ooh, behind in the chat. And Art Zoic says, don't have any sound on. That's for Art Zoic. That's a wave. Dice says, you're all invited to the 3rd annual TDG Open. $50 first place prize and $10 CTP. TDG Open. Is that the way that we met where I commented on your local course that you set up oh, it's like your parents' pond? Okay. 3rd annual. That's awesome. Oh, look at that. Brent, welcome to Team Brad. Heck yeah, Brent. That's awesome. Nice. Brent looking to win more discs from me by becoming a member. So there's a few perks to the membership. You get some custom emotes. Brent says finally logged into PayPal. That's great. You get some custom emotes. You get the kind of disc that's up next to your name, and you get automatically entered into disc giveaways. So a disc giveaway, probably once every other month is when I pretty much do them. You're automatically entered, and there's going to be a bonus disc given away just to channel members. So shout out Brent for becoming a member and to Brent's increased chances of winning a disc. Also, you get shout outs when I post a long form video, which reminds me that I need to film that for the unboxing video that I'm doing. I need to do my member shout outs. Let's see. Doc says, Brett, also if you get time to do disc golf, to do disc of the day for Duja, unless you're counting the mighty disc as disc of the day. Disc of the day. Ooh, we got the Streamline Shift. This was one of my better disc reviews that I did for the channel. A very flippy disc. It's definitely suited for that kind of general amateur disc golfer. A little bit of hyzer flip or turnover, roller if you really want it to be. And this is the kind of the St. Jude fundraiser disc. And I got my hands on this a couple of years ago, 172 grams. Really enjoyed it. I've had a few friends that really liked it. My friend Kyle tried to snag that from me, and I was like, I think I'm going to keep my hands on that. Thank you very much. And I just keep it on the shelf. Yeah. So, disc of the day. Doc says, a pond. We'll need my dragons. Arzoic says, are any of you playing Ledgestone this week? I might have a couple of friends who are swinging through for Ledgestone, but I am not. Dice says 14 out of 18 holes are water carries, 187 being the longest. Is that like a narrow stretch where you're zigzagging? Or is it a couple different shot shapes? Like, how is the water shaped? I'm very interested. Is it like along the water, across water? Is it a bunch of creeks? What? That's fascinating. How are 14 holes water carries? Because what I'm envisioning is that you kind of just throw across and then walk around and throw across at a different angle, and then walk around and then throw across at a different angle. Dice says, Brad, are you actually arguing for washing only the fork tines? No, you're not understanding. Like, if you are submerged in soapy water and you're killing the germs and then you're scrubbing specifically the fork tines, yeah, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna survive. You're gonna be all right. Steph says the lack of washing is concerning. He probably only washes the inside of his pots and pans. You gotta focus. You gotta focus your scrubbing on the inside for sure. But no, you gotta clean. You gotta clean it. Steph says you're all invited to wash your whole body. Dice says it keeps going deeper and deeper. What else will we discover Brad doesn't wash? How often do you wash your bed sheets? You probably don't want me to answer that question. I think it's about weekly. Yeah, weekly basis. And if you're going to tell me that you need to do it more than weekly, you're definitely insane. Weekly is normal. Doc says he just washes the side he sleeps on. That's weird. Dice says, I joined to get in on that giveaway of that copper-colored vulture. That was so beautiful. Oh, that's good to know. I might have to give myself get my hands on a similar disc to entice Dice back in as a channel member. Steph says, oh, this just crossed my mind. Brad, do you wash your beard? Does the water take care of that too? No, of course. That's totally different. I have a specific beard wash. I have a shampoo for my hair and then a beard wash for my face. And it helps a lot. Like it definitely helps the skin of your face, which is different than the skin of your scalp, and the beard hair being a different type of hair than the hair on your head. So, yep, I have a specific beard wash for that. It does not take care of itself. That's such a strange thing. Like, why would you think that? I don't understand. Doc says, "Ooh, like a stained glass mirror." That was a while ago. I'm really still behind on the chat. Dice says, Brad, do you shampoo your beard? You should. No. You don't want the same type of shampoo. Like if you use shampoo for your head and then you use that on your face, the skin on your face is not the same type of skin. You don't want to use just generic shampoo on your beard. You want to use a beard wash. It's not a beard oil, like it's a beard wash. So it is, I don't know if it's technically speaking a beard shampoo. I think that's what it says. Yeah, beard washes are beard shampoos. Yes. But you want a specific beard shampoo. You don't just want to use a generic shampoo on the hair on your face. Like it's different hair, it's different skin. And like I tried that in college and I was always annoyed when I had a beard because I'd grow the beard out and then I was like, "Oh, it just starts to get itchy." And then you kind of get past the itchy, phase of it growing. But then it started to just get like the face, the skin of my face was kind of like flaky, and then it got dried out, and then it got itchy again. And I was like, why do people ever have beards? Like it's just irritating, like all the time. And then I got a good beard wash, and all of that went away. So you definitely want that. Doc says, Steph, if he cleaned it, where would he keep his snacks? Gross. So gross. Ralph says, nice looking disc. Yeah, the shift is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Steph says, I hope Mrs. Birdie is on and finding out these disgusting traits. Wow, you guys are good at exaggerating. And yeah, a full 25% of people are like, nah, don't need to worry about it. Doc says, Dice, I swear I saw a whole pretzel in there and not from a bag, but like a soft pretzel from the mall. That's so gross. So gross. Dice says, it's a 9-hole course we play through twice, so actually 7 holes over the water. I'll post a layout pic on the community page later. I'm very interested. That's very cool. So playing the 9-hole course twice makes more sense for getting across the water 7 times. That's cool. Steph says, but the legs get left out. Beard gets special treatment, but the legs get nothing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like rubbing my legs on people. Like that's really weird. And I don't have like thick leg. I don't have a rug growing on my legs. So I don't know. You guys are being weird about this. Dice says, Doc, no wonder Brad was asking me for dipping cheese the other day. So weird. The beard shampoo is edible. Ugh. Steph says, I remember in 7th grade I did that with my first beard. 7th grade. That's a long time ago. That's impressive. I don't think I could have grown a beard. I didn't have a really great beard freshman year of college, but it was developing into a more fully grown in, thicker, normal beard. Probably, yeah, senior year of high school would have been okay beard. 7th grade is crazy. Dice says beard shampoo. I'll not be taking grooming advice from the guy who doesn't wash his legs. Oh my goodness. It is fascinating that you're have a unique perspective on washing your facial hair. I'm guessing you just have like one of those 17 in one like body wash shampoos, and you pretty much just pour some on the top of your head, and you just go from the top, and then you just go straight down. You just rub it on your face, rub it in your armpits, rub it everywhere, and then just spin in a circle a few times and call it good. But I wouldn't say that that's a good way to take care of your skin, just in my opinion. Dice says, "Oh, Art says in 7th grade," and Dice says, "Art, isn't that when you got your beard? I got mine in 3rd grade, full beard." Art says, "I'm in 11th and don't have one." Yeah, I barely could have. I wouldn't have even probably been able to call it a beard. We couldn't have facial hair in our high school, so I didn't even attempt to like grow it. But I don't think that it would have grown in as a beard by 11th grade. And I actually really went clean shaven. If you see my early videos, like you really don't see a beard until pretty much a year. Well, heck, wait, it's almost been 2 years where I've had the beard. So I guess like the first half of my YouTube career, completely clean shaven, with a couple of exceptions where I started to grow the beard out and then didn't love it and kind of shaved it off. That has been the majority of my life. The beard is really the last 2 years, and then a couple of Novembers before that where I grew the beard out. Steph says, use beard shampoo apparently. I love this. You guys are all prepared to lecture about, how to clean your knees, but when it comes to your face, where you have thick hair, you don't know how to take care of yourselves. I'm shocked. I'm simply just blown away that you would be so cavalier with the thing that circles around your mouth and where you breathe, where you kiss people, this whole section. You don't know how to take care of it. But you know that your knees are clean. I'm very proud of you. Got your knee pit. Good job. Goodness, I'm concerned about some of you guys. Doc says I use bar soap from the Dollar Tree. Whew. Yeah, I got mine. I got my bar soap from Walmart. So what can I say? What can I say? Dice says, "LOL, I don't use the Pert Plus." I guess that's the 17 in one. Doc says, "No facial hair. Was this high school on an island visited by?" Oh gosh. I don't know if you're talking about like we weren't allowed to have facial hair like our school rules for grooming. I don't know what you're referring to specifically. Uh, I could certainly like have some beginning to grow. I wouldn't call it a beard, but I was capable of having it grow on my face. It just wasn't good. It wasn't worth keeping. Steph says, my hair goes down to the middle of my back. I wash my whole body with bar of soap. Yeah, it's from Lush, but whole body, all the crooks and crevices in hair every time, minimum of once a day. Doc said, I thought you said facial hair wasn't allowed. No, we weren't allowed to have beards. Like we weren't allowed to grow our facial hair. Like you were allowed to have hair growing on your face, but you weren't allowed to like maintain and try to grow a mustache beard in our high school. Yeah, it's just school rules. Like you had to have your hair cut to a certain length. You couldn't be like growing a beard or a mustache or a goatee. We had to wear like slacks and a polo, no t-shirts. Just very, I mean, I would say very minimal. Like we didn't have school uniforms. We could wear tennis shoes. Like it's very minimal standards of dress and appearance. They weren't beard in general. They were anti high school beard, which is a good idea because most high school beards are terrible, terrible. Even though Steph could grow a great beard back then, and Allen. Uh, uh, Steph says, when I wear my hair down, women talk about how much they love it. Nice. Dice says, must have been a private school. Yes, it was a private school. My school had no restrictions, so all kinds of mid-pubescent boys running around with unsightly hairs poking out of their face where a beard should be. That's exactly right. My high school was knowledgeable and reasonable enough to say, look, if you try to grow it, it's going to be bad. Just don't. And then when I got to college, I was reasonably surprised that when I did attempt to kind of grow a beard out, I was like, this kind of grows in decently well. And it really developed over the next couple of years. I wasn't, grooming, maintaining at this, level, but eventually got here. It took me 30 years to get here, but at least it's a beard. But in high school, I would not have been capable. So I think the teachers, the administration knew what they were doing. And yes, it was a private Christian school, so a kind of minimum standard was there for sure. Oh my gosh. Steph says, but I also don't throw a dragon, so I guess the people who love dragons don't wash their legs. The leg washer is a confirmed dragon thrower. Oh no, I don't know. Looks like there's a conflicting vote here. Steph doesn't throw the dragon. Doc does throw the dragon. So you guys are on opposite sides. People who don't throw dragons are just bad at knowing what they should do. Ralph says, tried a beard for a while, realized I look like Tim Curry and shaved. Yeah, let's see. I just watched well, not just, but recently watched the episode of Psych with Tim Curry. I mean, you can kind of, it depends on how well it kind of grows in. If you can kind of shape it, trim it. But not everyone's ideal if you're going for the beard to kind of just have that, portion around your mouth. Some people go for it. Tim Curry, the clown from It. I don't feel like that's. He was Pennywise. I didn't know that. That's hilarious. I haven't seen any iteration of It. The closest I've come to watching It is the IT Crowd, which is not close, by the way, if you didn't get that. I think you can pull it off at an older age as well. I think it's hard to, if you're high school or 20s, I think it's really hard to kind of pull off I don't even know what they call that, but the facial hair just kind of growing around your mouth on the chin. I feel like that's very, very, very difficult to pull off. But once you hit like 40s to 50, I feel like that all of a sudden you're like, oh, that kind of, that looks natural. That kind of looks good. It reminds me of the scene in The Office where Ryan comes back with like facial hair and suddenly like Steve's trying to grow it out and like copy him right away. And it just doesn't look right. You're like, that just doesn't look right. It's just wrong. Steph says, sorry, I had to back out to watch. Skip video. Interesting. Welcome back. Dice says, headed to Taco Bell, boys. Gonna get me some of the explosive diarrhea everyone's been raving about. Hey, that's always been in fashion. Whether or not the lettuce makes you, have that occur to you, it's pretty much guaranteed no matter what. I think it's in their fine print. But I hope you enjoy it. It's definitely worth it. Delightful Taco Bell. It's been a little while for me. 2 weeks, maybe. Dice says, don't worry, I'm not leaving. You're coming with me. All right. Trip to Taco Bell. Doc says, eat strong. My friend, eat strong. Steph says, Taco Bell is my favorite diarrhea. Hey, man, at least you get to enjoy it half the time. Going in. You get to enjoy it going in. Doc says, if you need any salsa, I think Brad has a few packs in his beard. So weird. It's such a short beard to like have things hidden in anyway. Arby's is my favorite. Doc says Arby's is his favorite diarrhea. Yeah, I feel like Arby's for me, it's just not worth it to eat once, let alone experience it twice. Ralph says Diablo, the Diablo sauce. Doc says that's the best sauce. It's not for me. I don't begrudge anyone appreciating the flavor. Just I like their mild sauce. I think it has good flavor and it's not spicy. And then medium, that's fine, not ideal. And then everything after that is like it's just uninteresting. It no longer has a beneficial impact on my taste buds. It's just not worth it. Just not worth it. Mild sauce all the way. I'm a sissy, says Steph. Hey, heck yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I just appreciate the flavor of it. I feel like it just has a barest tiny bit of kick so that you get something out of it. It's not much, but at least you like, get the experience, the sense of a little bit. But the flavor is just good. It just hits right. I would get the bottle from the store, from Meijer or Walmart, wherever I was, and I would just kind of keep it on hand and make like a breakfast burrito and just sprinkle in the mild sauce. And it's just, yeah, it took it to a whole nother level. It's some good stuff. Doc says, I don't put more than 3 packs of hot or Diablo on a taco, so I'm not crazy for the heat either. Three. Oh, that's so much. Steph, Steph says, also, it's bath time for the little man where I will be washing his whole legs. Ralph says hiding the flavor is the point. No, 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 no. You have to appreciate the cheese, the nacho cheese flavoring in all of Taco Bell's foods. I think it was a Rhett and Link episode where they pretty much did this thing where they would combine like a bunch of food items all into one and then take a big bite out of it. And they did it with Taco Bell and they took the bite and they were just like, it just tastes like Taco Bell. Like it didn't seem weird. It was just kind of this conglomerate of their menu. I feel like that kind of works. That kind of makes sense. Doc says, "What? That's not a lot. 3 packs on a taco is a lot. If you're talking soft shell taco, those are small. Like that's a lot. I probably wouldn't even go with more than 1 pack of mild for flavor in like a burrito. And I probably wouldn't use the whole pack on one soft shell taco. If you're doing 3 in a soft shell taco, you're insane. I'll just say it. Doc says, I guess I do like the heat. That's fine. Like you can definitely appreciate it how you want to. I think that's a lot for a very little bit of food. That's where I think the imbalance comes in. But I'm also not up for the spice. The spice is not for me. Don't handle it. More than 1 pack and it starts getting messy, says Dice. I feel like that's a generally speaking a good rule. Like for the most part, you have more than 1 pack, it starts to get messy. Now some Taco Bell items are messy anyway, so fair is fair. But if you're doing like a soft shell, I don't see how it holds 3 of them. I feel like it's going to start melting through the flour tortilla, decompose it back into grain again or something. Doc says, I've talked about enjoying a lot of salsa in my food before. I don't really remember that specifically. I remember you enjoy the salsa. I didn't remember that it was a high ratio of salsa to food. I guess maybe I just had that escape my notice until now. But makes sense. It's not for me. Makes sense. All this talk of food, I'm starting to get hungry. Doc says found out at many Taco Bell or at Taco, sorry, not Taco Bell. Found out at many taco restaurants putting salsa on your food wasn't normal. Interesting. I feel like it's somewhat normal, maybe not like super typical, but I wouldn't look twice at somebody who did. I guess though it's generally speaking hot sauce rather than salsa. I guess salsa, yeah, maybe a little less common, but I don't think it's like weird. Maybe a little out of the ordinary is what I would say. Dice says I've never put sauce on anything except tacos and burritos. Do you guys use sauce on other items? Like the Taco Bell sauce? Um, I would say it works for like, well, it's still with the tortilla, so it doesn't really count. But like a breakfast burrito where you have like eggs and ham and stuff like that, definitely works well. But it's still like a type of burrito, so yeah, point taken. What else? I feel like I have had the Taco Bell sauce on something. I feel like it would work with just a couple different types of meat. I feel like would just work well. Maybe with just some chicken. Just Taco Bell chicken. Doc says, have you tried the Taco Bell kits yet? Taco kits? I feel like somebody gave me one once. I don't remember. Would have been a long time ago. Doc says, love my sauce on my tacos and taco salad. Jay Runs, though, says, put the sauce on as I eat it. Bite sauce, bite again. So I do that with sour cream. I have a side of sour cream, and I dip, bite, and then dip and bite. So I'll eat my way through, especially my beefy 5-layer burrito. That's a dip of sour cream with every bite. I'm very much a bite perfectionist, where I get upset if somebody makes a burrito and they put an item on one end, an item in the middle, an item on the other end. I'm very bothered by that because I can't eat that way. I would like everything evenly strewn throughout the burrito. Thank you very much. If I'm doing like nachos, I'm very particular about like having a very similar ratio of like the meat, the chip, the cheese, the sour cream, every single bite. So I'm like using my chips as utensils to, it's not like scientific, but basically scoop and eat, a bite so that everything's pretty much the same. So when I do have like an enchilada at home or a Taco Bell, yeah, I'm dipping the sour cream. Get it right. Ralph says a few drops of hot sauce really works well in pasta sauce. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen the hot sauce come out for spaghetti where some people are just all about it. But spicing up the pasta sauce a little bit, I could see that working really well. Doc says I can imagine Brad with that giant mild taco sauce pack. OMG, poor Mrs. Birdie. No, I haven't heard any complaints yet. But the giant taco sauce pack, no, I just save a few mild packs just in case I need them. I used to get the glass bottle. But yeah, I'll just go to Taco Bell. I'll snag a few extra packs, take them home, keep them in the cupboard. If you need them, you have them. Dice says, what madman puts different sections within the burrito? A bite of nothing but tortilla and lettuce. Yuck. Yeah, it's brutal. And unfortunately, they'll do it with the beefy 5-layer burritos where you'll just get a bite of refried beans and then you'll just get your next bite and it's just beef. It's like, it's just too much. Like the beef is good spread throughout the burrito, but you need the beef, beans, cheese, and sour cream and the tortilla. Like you need everything in that bite. If it's just a bite of beef, I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Why am I just eating this? What's going on? It's too much. Unfortunately, that happens, and it's even worse when you ask for extra sour cream because they will just put it in one section. They will not spread it throughout. They will just put it all in one section. So I do not get extra sour cream. I get a side of sour cream. I tried it, and it just did not work with extra sour cream. But you get that side of sour cream, you get to measure that out for yourself, basically, throughout it. Much better. Doc says, Brad at Subway, excuse me, can you move that pickle 3 centimeters to the left? I would never say centimeters. I would say move that 1.5 inches to the left. I don't know what you're talking about. That's insane. I've never done that, but I will do things like at Subway. I'll say, do you mind if I get it just a little bit extra mayonnaise? And then they'll like put all the mayonnaise on, and I'll be like, just a little bit more, and they'll do more. I'll be like, thank you, that's perfect. So usually my mayonnaise, I'm like, they just underdo it with mayonnaise. Sometimes they overdo it with the meat, which I know you're supposed to like that, but when it's too much ham, I just can't handle it. Continuing to eat just a high concentration of ham in every bite, it just really gets to me. Actually, one of the reasons why Christmas and Thanksgiving are not my favorite meals of the year, because I just feel like I'm just chowing through ham and I'm so tired of it. I just can't. I like ham, but I can't eat large quantities of big bites of ham for 20 minutes. I can't handle that. But I can eat large quantities of mac and cheese for 20 minutes. It's true. And stuffing, and mashed potatoes and gravy, and bread. Those are my favorite parts of Thanksgiving dinner. And then I have a little bit of ham, just to get some protein, Doc says, now ours does too much of the mayo. Yeah, that can happen too. That can happen where you just need to be like, cool, before you put any mayo on, Please go light on the mayo. Don't do a ton of mayo. You do too much. It's too much. Calm down. In the Taco Bell kits, you get a giant sauce pack. I feel like I had to have made that. Taco Bell kit. Yeah, I must have. I had one of these a long. Maybe it was a birthday gift. Yeah, probably a birthday gift from a friend or family member. Maybe my sister. I'm not seeing like a giant sauce pack, but I'm sure that you're right. I'm just not seeing it. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, that just comes with the whole bottle. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doc says, no, I'm not that way. I'm just happy I'm not having to cook. Well, I think there's a very, very reasonable line with food prep where you're well within your rights to say, hey, could you do it this way? Or hey, I prefer this. Stuff like, rare, medium rare, or light on, or no pickles, or light on onions, like all of that's totally fine. But you can cross that line to micromanaging or ridiculous if you're, well, first of all, if you're being rude about it. But second of all, if you're going to such an extent where you're like saying, I would like 6 pieces of ham, please, and I would like a half handful of cheese. Please put only 4 olives on. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. But if you're just saying, a little extra mayo, please, or light on the ham, that's fine. I think that it is part of your job to take and accommodate reasonable requests that are in line with things like that when you work in food service. Obviously, people can be rude, people can be extreme. That's stupid, but when somebody's just having a little bit of a preference, totally normal. I think I usually fall within those lines. Doc says, no, you don't get the bottle. That picture is showing the different products. I'll take a picture next time I make it and put it on the Discord. Man just has them in his pantry. Well, I think there's one specific one that I saw, Doc, and it is a 12 taco pack, and it comes with a bottle, like a 7-ounce bottle of hot sauce and a full ounce bottle of the seasoning. But other than that, I am seeing just kind of like the taco prep packs. They're just happening not to show like the sauce pack that it comes with. But I do think that's a specific box that does come. I think that does come with the bottle, because it says it comes with 7 ounces of hot sauce. But I guess maybe it comes in a giant packet. I guess you could be right. It has a picture of the bottle. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh, here we go. That is like it's like a cup. It's like a cup with the sauce in it. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's not actually, none of this is actually important in any way, shape, or form. Is it Target? Yes. So maybe you're looking at it and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't get the bottle. Target sells all 3 for a kit. There you go. So if you guys haven't been seeing it, I recommend, that's why it says plus and plus. So it's just a separate, it doesn't come in the box is all you're saying? Got it. 63% of us are normal. I mean, a full 37% of people who were like, yeah, not every time. Dice says, did you guys see that Burger King hired these like customer? I'm trying to wait. Okay. I'm trying to read the comment correctly. Burger King hired these like customer service. They have some funny names: Royal Satisfaction, Manager Weirdness, Have It Your Way representatives. Yeah, I'm not reading that as full sentences or ideas. Doc says, Dice, are you okay? I'm sure we'll get a more clear explanation of what was just happening. Did you have too many Diablos? But if you guys haven't been seeing it, Odd Golf, I think he jumped into a live stream probably the first week that he had just posted one of his videos, or maybe after the second video. But shout out to Odd Golf for the kind of disc golf compilation videos. But I think you have to check it out. To me, it's just the enjoyable everyday disc golf experience where yeah, you're gonna get some highlights, you're gonna get some aces, but you're going to get the like chain outs, the rollaways, the windy days where your disc blows OB into the middle of the stream or whatever. And then there's some like goofy, funny trick shots or jokes that people are gonna make. But you have these like compilation videos with Odd Golf putting them together. And I think I've been, or a video from Birdietime Disc Golf has been in all of those compilation videos so far. I think everyone has had one of my clips in it. And so I would say take a look at the Odd Golf videos. I'm actually the thumbnail. I might be a little hard to recognize. I'm further back, which probably Doc appreciates that. But I'm the thumbnail of this latest Odd Golf video. So take a look at that. It's a lot of fun. It's like 5 minutes of, just disc golf compilation clips, and I think it's worth checking out. I posted the latest one on the channel maybe 5 hours ago, something like that. So they're a lot of fun. Give them a glance. Just tell them I sent you, or comment on my clip and give it some love or hate or whatever it is. I don't care. Dice says, Jay Runs Those says on YouTube. Yes. So I posted on YouTube a post with a link to it and basically said, I'm featured on the thumbnail of this, video, this compilation video. So shout out to Odd Golf. I think it's just enjoyable. And if you want to submit your own clip to Odd Golf, you can do that. I've been working with him to kind of troubleshoot a couple of little things on the site and try to like submit some clips of my own. But I believe that it's fixed now and you should be able to submit short clips where he can kind of edit on the back end to get it all settled into his video. But it's just cool. Like if you have that fun, funny, crazy moment that you happen to catch on film and you put it up on your Instagram and you got 10 views, I've had that happen. And it's like, oh, that was just kind of annoying. Now you can submit it and see if it can kind of get a new life in a compilation video. So highly recommended. It's a lot of fun. Anyway. Dice says, sorry for the jumbled mess, doing speech to text because driving. Yep. Doc says, it's okay. We prefer you being safe. That's true. We do. Dice says, BK hired people to just make sure people had their Whopper made correctly and give them another one if not, and a coupon for free next time if still unsatisfied. Wow. That's the entire position description. Yeah, that's a little excessive. I feel like there's a loose parameters for food that are, is it edible? That's a strict standard. Is it edible? Is it the correct item? Is it cooked? It's not is it perfect, but is it cooked, correctly? Like it has the right ingredients, has the right, whatever. It's safe to eat. It's approximately put together correctly. And then it's not worth making a stink over it. If you're missing food items that you paid for, it's well within your rights to say, hey, I'm missing food item. I would like my food item that I paid for. If it's completely wrong, yeah, if it's entirely incorrect, it's reasonable to ask for that to be fixed. If there is too much ketchup on it, you scrape a little ketchup off. You don't return it, throw it away, and ask for a perfect one. So I think there's limits of how to go about stuff like that. Yeah, to have a whole position for that is kind of crazy. When we got some, what was it? Let's see, what was it? I think it was Chinese food. Yeah, basically they didn't put the crab rangoons that we ordered, and that was frustrating because it was a 20-minute drive one way. Picked it up, came back, found out, went back. They had closed down the kitchen, so they couldn't make more. And basically, they were prepared. Like they have a process of like, okay, can we give you the item? No. Can we give you an equivalent that you're okay with? no, okay, we'll give you a partial refund or a full refund. And thankfully, we got the refund, but it's frustrating when you pay for something and they just don't give it to you. You know, that's stupid. But if you're like, oh, I wanted this to be perfect and it's imperfect, there are too many sesame seeds on top of the bun, like that's insane. Doc says, Brad, true, but Burger King's motto is made your way, so whatever or whatever, so it's kind of important. I would say, again, within reasonable limits. But yeah, if you specifically ask for an item and they give you the wrong item, like obviously that's not made your way. If you're like, no ketchup, no onions, and they put ketchup and onions on it, okay, fine. Like you can say, hey, like this is just not how I ordered it. But if you expect them to read your mind and you're like, this is too much mustard, or there are not enough onion on this, or there's only one pickle, that's not right. Like that's excessive. That's just too much. So I think yes, aligning with what you asked for is important, but people can take it too far. That's all I'm saying. Uh, Your Way Champion Manager is the official title. Wow. Dox's position is probably more about marketing than actually getting orders right. I think there's definitely the customer satisfaction element where if you have, well, again, is it a legitimate complaint or a silly one? That doesn't really necessarily matter. I think you should only make legitimate ones. But it's when complaints come, do they have a proper way to deal with them that the customer goes away and goes, okay, they made it right, or I'm not going to be so mad that I tell people not to eat there or put up a bad review. I think that's their main goal. So I think getting orders right, maybe not so much. I think it's more responding properly when someone's upset that an order is wrong and either fixing it or saying, yeah, here's your coupon. Now you're not so upset about it. That makes sense. Doc says, it's working. We are talking about it on a disc golf podcast. We never get off topic of disc golf constantly. Brad Uber Eats. Wait. Brad, Uber Eats here stinks at getting you your drinks for some reason. I've had to send feedback because they forgot my drink. That's brutal. I have never done an Uber Eat. It's funny because I worked for, great, now I'm going to forget. It's not, what is it? I forgot what it is. I worked for basically a grocery. I would go order and deliver groceries for a few months. And so it was kind of like that idea of like Uber Eats, but you kind of pick your it's grocery store food. So it's instead of picking up an order from a restaurant, it's you go to the grocery store and you're using the app to like scan all the items and then submit it and then submit the purchase at the register. That was an interesting job. It was okay. Like the pay was somewhat reasonable and some people did tip. Day one was really hard. I didn't understand what I was doing and how to find things in the store. What was that called? It wasn't called Shopify. It was called, what was that called? I still have a t-shirt from them. Anyway, can't remember, but it's hard in a store where you're like in a Walmart and they want a very exact specific thing, and it's hard to find the exact specific thing in a wall of options. So obviously you get one thing wrong every once in a while, it happens. But when you are like, hey, I got food and drink and I only got the food, like that's a problem. Dice says, not the Rangoons. Oh no, it was so sad. It was so sad. The ones we did get, basically we ordered a dozen and we got three dinky ones that were charred and it just was so sad. It was so sad. Doc says Uber Eats is expensive, but sometimes I don't want to leave my house. Got a nice coupon, so I treat myself. There you go. Heck yeah. I've done like delivery before, but this was before Uber Eats. This was like you ordered the pizza and have them deliver it. So it's been a long time. Jay Runs though says Instacart. No, I think it started with an S. Dice says Spark, not Spark. Man, I just do not remember. I do not remember. Um, heck, they might have closed. I don't even know. Shipped. It was shipped. So yeah, I worked for Shipped for a couple of months. The day one was the worst by far because I had this extremely lengthy list of items, and multiple of the items were like, go to like the deli counter and get this much of this item, this much of this item, this much of this item. And then it was like, I also want this very specific packaged meat. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking for. So I'm like hunting through like all of this meat. I'm in the right section, but it's huge. Thankfully, although the first order did not go well, an employee was like, "Oh, you're with Shipped. If you look on the shelf, it tells you basically like what aisle, what shelf, what bay number, exactly what you're looking for, and what item number, so that you can find the exact item that they listed." And once I understood that, I was like, "Thank goodness. That's so much better. Thank goodness." But the first day was really hard. It's really hard. So I don't know if Shipped was just a Michigan thing or if I did search for Michigan. So I don't know if it's popping up just because it's only Michigan or because I searched for Michigan, but I think there's still. Let me see. Yeah, seems like they're still in business. Yep. I don't think they're terrible. I think it's harder with fast food because you're ordering one specific meal. Often it's like, a $15 meal, and then the driver's supposed to make enough money based on the delivery. Like that can be crazy. But when you're ordering groceries, it's like you're spending $200, $250 on a week's worth of groceries for your family or whatever it might be. It's a lot easier to pay the fee for that and for someone to kind of make their living taking on those jobs and picking up and dropping off that food. If you live in a populated enough area, you can make that work a lot better than someone who is just getting their money from like individual food orders. It's a lot harder. It's more expensive per item to like do like an Uber Eats from fast food versus like the grocery store. So I do feel like Shipt does okay of like staying in business for there. Anyway, Doc says, I use that once, but I like to pick out my own groceries. It can be really convenient. I think when I was doing it was like middle to early COVID as well. So I was like, gosh, let's see, 24, 25 years old. And I'm like, this is good timing. Like, I'll go to the grocery store. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'll pick up a bunch of groceries and I'll drop it off for the 75-year-old who doesn't want to go to a packed grocery store. I'm like, totally reasonable. So it's really used by older people quite a bit, and then people who, are just their work schedule is insane and they just don't have time or don't want to spend the time to come home from work and then make a list and then go to the store, but they're able to make a grocery list. A lot of people would order for their parents. That happened quite a bit where it would be like submitted by like a 40 something, couple or a lady or a guy, and then I'd be dropping it off at a 70 plus year old's house, something like that. Happened quite a bit. Fox says, I hear Uber Eats has a new option. You can use only delivery people who wash their legs. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, in case you have that preference. Dice says I would pay extra for that. Oddly enough, you have to pay extra for people who don't wash their legs. What? That's discrimination. That's simply cruel. All right, well, I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream in just a minute here, so another 2 minutes, I guess. I'll run it and take any more questions or comments, and I'll wrap things up. Ugh. It's still slightly early, but essentially my conclusion of the Nerf discs is that they can be useful and decent for people, but they are going to deform after hitting trees. I don't think the putter is good for putting. I didn't mention that. And these are hard to throw really far because you're kind of deforming the disc as you grip it. So it's hard to get a lot of distance out of it. I think they're fun. I think they're good discs. I don't think they're great discs. I think they're useful. I don't think they're transformative. I don't think competitive players are going to use them. I did not put that many times with the putter, but yeah, I would say not ideal for catching those chains and dropping into the basket consistently. Docs has got to get to bed too. So Brad, Nerf 2.0, what would you like to see or not worth getting 2.0? Great question. That's a really, really good question. I would say I think they do need a tiny bit more weight. I think they need to be at least 120 grams. I think they are a little bit excessively lightweight. I don't mind if they have options. If they have Nerf and Nerf light or whatever, Nerf and Nerf heavy, I don't care. I do think that's fine, but I think you really need a slightly heavier weight to handle the spin and power. I don't find the slickness an actual problem, but I do think that when you make them with some added weight, I think you can make them with a little bit more density so that they don't get beat up quite as fast. Yeah. That's about all I've got for it. I don't think they need to be like crazy different. I just feel like a little bit of tweaks here and there, a little heavier weight, a little more dense will make enough of a difference that the integrity of the disc will just last longer, particularly for people who get a lot out of it or who aren't going to be hitting trees constantly or throwing straight to the ground. They're just going to be throwing 150 feet. It's going to be great for them. Yeah. Doc says, all my questions are great. That is not true. I like to see Nerf logos in the plastic to help with the grip. And yeah, like 140-ish. The Nerf logos in the plastic to help with the grip. Also, Brad, next visit home, would like to see how your dad likes them. Yeah, I would say he'll probably appreciate them. You heard my stomach growl? How did you hear that? Dang, that's creepy. I am hungry. I can't believe you heard that. I just ignored it because I didn't think you'd be able to hear it. That's wild. Easton says, can you shout me out? I mean, I know nothing about Easton, but thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. I'm actually about to wrap up the stream, but thanks for swinging through. Legend. Doc says, yeah, my dog is scared now. Marky Duncan says, hi. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you swinging through. I'm actually just about to wrap up the stream. So if there are any disc golf related questions or comments, I'm happy to answer or chat about something real quick. But I'm about to wrap up. Doc says, I screen capture the growl to play when burglars try breaking in. Wow. Is that why they don't tend to break in overnight? Because I'm just hungry and ready for breakfast? That makes sense. That makes sense. Easton says, I watched your vids. I just got my first ace. Oh, well then, shout out Easton for hitting that first ace. Heck yeah. Tell me about it. What did you throw? What was the approximate distance? And congrats. That's so awesome. Hitting your first ace is such a great feeling. I remember exactly how my first ace happened. I was so glad somebody saw it. My buddy Cullen. That was really, really cool. So yeah, tell me a little bit about it. That's awesome. Doc says, do you have to play it back when you get time? Make it a short, maybe? I did not know it was that loud. It must be just the way that I have my phone here and my laptop here. It must have just kind of captured it just enough, reverberating, and just pushed the sound to my phone, like holding your hand up to your ear. Yeah. Interesting. I barely even noticed that it happened. I did not think you guys would hear it. That's crazy. Shh. No. 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. Calm down. Here, you can have something to drink. I don't know if that's going to help. Doc says, it's your body. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it was loud. I've never worried about it before. I didn't know it could be heard on a live stream. I'm going to have to start wearing sweaters just to keep the noise in a little bit. Easton says, Buzz ESP. Oakboro or Borough Park, hole 17, like 210. Heck yeah. Hey, any ace on a legitimate hole that's more than like 90 feet is a real ace. But over 200 for your first ace, That's legit. That's really, really cool. That's awesome. So let's see. Oakboro Park. Oh, here. Oh, okay. Okay, Oakboro. No, I don't want location. Leave me alone. All right, let's see the maps. There's 4. Oh my gosh. Udisc is great, but it's so annoying that it makes you log in on your laptop to see a course layout, a whole layout. I'm not logged in on my laptop. Talk on it. I don't know if this is working or not. I just want to check out the course real quick before I end the stream. Dice says Brad, wait. About what? Doc says Easton, Brad is going to find out the hole is 208 feet and bug you about it for the rest of your life. No. I'm just checking it out. I promise you I won't complain. Even if it's like 140 feet, I don't care. But 210, that's a legit ace. Okay, I know you heard that one, but just ignore it. It didn't happen. Shh. Doc says he's trying to use his keyboard. He needs to concentrate. Well, yeah, I can't talk and type something that I'm not saying out loud at the same time. In the UDIS directory, type TDG open the pond. Okay, I'll have to try that. Okay. I'm not logging in correctly to UDIS right now. I'm not sure why. Oh, wait, it's logging in, but it's frozen. I swear it's birdietime 14. That's not my password. That's my username, by the way. Okay. Oh, well. Congrats again, Easton. That's an awesome ace. Oh, it worked. I literally backed out and the app, UDisc app is great. UDisc on my laptop, not very good. Okay. Let's see. Hole 17 from shorts. Let's go longs here. All-star. Nice. Was it hole 16, which is 217 feet? Maybe it's hole 16. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's awesome. It could be I'm not using the app, and that is just really annoying. Okay, let's see. TDG open at the pond. As my stomach just growls. TDG open 3. California. Look at that. I recognize that. That's Todd. I mean, Diceizer. Sweet, dude. That's really awesome. Ooh, you're the champion last year. Someone needs to dethrone you, take you down. Oh, cool. I'm about to show up and trash all of you. Okay. UDisc, you're just annoying. I just want to see photos of Todd's parents' pond. All right. I got to wrap things up. Easton, one more time. Shout out for the ace. What is your favorite disc? I'll say the Brave. I think the Brave. I have the flippier Royal Grand and the more stable Swirly blend. Royal Grand Brave. They fly great. The Echo is a close second. I love the Soul. I love the Enigma. Those are all good discs. But I would say probably Brave is my favorite. If you hop on to a different live stream, I'll be streaming in a week every Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. I'm hopping in the live stream. And for a short period of time in the next couple of weeks, I'll do some short streams during the week. So keep your eyes peeled for those. But if you have more questions, comments, you want to hang out, I'll be back next week on the live stream. Until then, if you leave a comment on a video, I should find it and we can chat that way. All right. Easton says mine's a Roadrunner. Roadrunner is a fun disc. That was an early favorite for me. Early favorite. All right. Love you guys. My stomach is growling. Peace out.